Know what you guys are thinking. Don't listen to snakes. It ends badly. And in general, that's good advice. But I wanted to talk today about a very particular snake named Verdi. This is the name of a picture book that I have loved since I was little. It's all about a green tree python, and it's the sweetest story. So we're gonna walk through it today. If you haven't read it and you want to, there will be a little bit of spoilers going on because it's a very short story and talking about insights from it. Um, the whole book is very short, so there will be some spoilers. But hopefully this inspires you to read it and gives share. There's some great life lessons that we can kind of unpack together. Number one is be yourself, and don't let anyone tell you, um, what you can and can't be. Verity, the book, is about a little green tree python. When green tree pythons are born, they're either yellow or I think sometimes red. So this little Verity is a bright yellow little snake who loves to zip around really fast in trees, and actually he'll kind of coil up and then spring off. And in the story, he makes cute little figure eights or cute little circles, and he likes dancing in the air basically before zipping back down to Earth. And this is based in, what pythons actually do. These kinds of pythons will coil up and then they act as a spring and they're able to either jump and eat something or jump out of the way if there's a predator when they're little. So this is, kind of nature accurate. But in the story, this little green snake is living his best life and it's really cute. And there's these older green tree pythons that are, green. They're slower at this point. And at one point, little Verity asks them, "Hey, come on, come with me. Let's go, zipping around trees together." And they are like, "Careful, you're gonna get hurt. Please don't do that." And they're even a little rude to him. So he's not a big fan of them. But he goes off and he lives his best life, and he doesn't want to be like those big, slow green snakes. Of course, he's a green tree python, so eventually green starts showing up on him, and he gets really scared and he tries to scrub it off with leaves, and he tries to outrace the green, and he tries to cover the green in mud, and he does not want to turn into a big green snake like the rest of the boring ones that he just met. And so he's zippity-doo-dying around, but he ends up getting injured at one point and has to kind of get cured a little bit more. Or he has the big green snakes come and help him, and they kind of bandage him up, and he's stuck sitting there. Which brings us to the second lesson, which is everybody's got a story. So Verity lives life fully, that's great. But as he's sitting there listening to the older green snakes, he hears them sharing about wild adventures of their own that he had no idea they ever went on. And he starts to realize, like, you guys were just like me. That's crazy. And I think that this often happens when we listen to other people's stories. Like, we'll have this commonality that we didn't know about. And I love this saying, like, we're all just one conversation away from being really good friends. Because, yeah, we have a lot of differences and we don't always find the connection point right away. But oftentimes, if we talk long enough with people, there will be some kind of connection point, or they'll have a story that we can really resonate with. And I think that's so beautiful. So in this book, there's this moment of Verity realizing, like, oh, these people were just like me. It was just like they got injured and then they decided not to be as adventurous. And then now they're a little hyper cautious. And that's why they're warning me not to zip around. It's not because they don't get it, it's because they've lived it. And it was just really fun to see this little snake's mind being like, oh, wait, this is different than I thought it was. It doesn't mean that Verity is going to slow down like they did, but it means that they get him way more than he ever initially thought. So after this, the snakes tell their stories and they kind of go off. Verity sits there for a little while and he just thinks about everything that he's learned and everything he's kind of lived through. And at one point, these two little yellow snakes zip up to him and they're like, "Look at that big green one. Like, I bet he never moves." And at this point, Verity has become a big green python. But he makes the decision that he's also going to still be Verdi. He's going to be his happy little zippy self. So he asks the little yellow snakes, he's like, "You want to come, like, zing through the trees with me and do little figure eights?" And they're like, "What? You like doing that too?" And so he's a little more cautious than he used to be, but Verdi's still himself. And that brings us to the third and final point that I want to take away from this book is aging can be so beautiful and you can be yourself through it. And I think that there's sometimes this fear of aging in our society, that could be a whole different episode of just like a society that places so much of your personal value on appearance and strength can be detrimental in so many ways, but one of them is just this fear of aging that I've seen sometimes. And aging is such a gift. And you don't have to lose yourself either. Um, so I love how Verdi's like, yeah, he's a little bit more cautious now because he's gotten injured. He knows that you have to be careful when you're flinging off trees as a big snake. But he is also still going to have some adventure. So he's found wisdom and added that to his natural um, exuberance and his natural, daredevilness. So he has this blend now. And I think that's so beautiful. So yeah, there's a little green tree python that's taught me so much about just live your life fully, go bold, listen to the stories of others because there's so many points of connection that we can find within those. And then also aging is such a beautiful process and you can find new sides of yourself, not lose yourself on that side of things. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of that? The author of this book, Janelle Cannon, is actually a Minnesota native, which is super cool. And she writes about unlikely protagonists. Like Verity's probably my favorite book she's written, but she's also written a book about a little bat, which is really cute. Apparently, she's written a book about a cockroach, which I haven't read yet, but she likes unlikely protagonists. So I like pulling life lessons from those stories. I think they're so sweet and they're quick reads. Definitely check it out. But they're also um, yeah, they give a little bit more to think about. And let me know in the comments what picture book with some slightly deeper themes should I read next. Um, Live life fully, guys, and I will see you next time.